Welcome back. Today we're in the kitchen and today I am going to cook you my vegetarian cabbage rolls. Now these cabbage rolls are special to me, and I know I said the vegetarian word, but you could use it as a vegetable, you know, with your chicken or your steak or whatever it is. So these are the cabbage rolls my grandmother on my dad's side used to make every time we'd come over. And it's just one of those things that, well, they're really good. It's not one of those things that, you know, you had to choke down or anything like that. You look forward to, you know, visiting grandma. So anyway, the ingredients are simple. I'm going to go through them real quick, and then we're going to get on to getting the rice on the go and putting this whole thing together. So let's look at the ingredients. Very simple. And I'm sure you're going to like them, so give them a shot. Alright, we're going to zoom in. Alright, here are the ingredients. Very simple. The main ingredient, of course, is going to be the brown rice. Not white rice, this is brown rice. It's I think it's a short grain. This one just happens to be from Costco. We have celery salt, key, and Vagisil. Now Vagisil used to be Vagisil on its own. This is actually one of my favorite salts, and now it's a Spike brand, which is it's a pretty common brand, so you should be able to pick that up. Onion, cabbage, celery, and a little bit of oil. That's all you're going to need, and I guarantee you, you're going to love them. So let's get started with the rice. Just going to put a little bit of oil at the bottom of my pan here. And I'm going to go with, let's see what it looks like. That's about right. I'm going to go with 2 cups of brown rice. Now I'm going to bring this up to temperature and just coat all the rice with a little bit of oil. Now I don't know about you, but I find that cooking brown rice is a bit of a pain. Even if you just read the instructions, it just seems like it's always a bit of a struggle. So what I do is I will add my water and I will just keep boiling it until it's to the point where I want it, and then I basically just pull it out and strain it. And we want our rice a little bit al dente, so not done, because it's going to cook a little bit yet in the cabbage roll and we don't want mushy rice. So just going to coat this and bring it up to temperature a little bit. Then we're going to add some hot water. Here, pot is nice and hot. Everything is coated in oil. Add a little bit of water. Add about 4 cups. It really doesn't matter, because we're going to boil this until the rice is at the point where we really want it. I'm going to add a little bit of salt, and this is just going to be some kosher salt. You can add a little bit of soup stock if you wanted to, and we're just going to let it boil away until we're done. Alright, the key to these is having a lot of vegetables in there. Well, onion and celery, they're vegetables. So this is a fairly large onion. I'll probably use about 2/3 of this, and probably about 5 stalks of celery. And we'll just fry them down, and then when our rice is ready, we'll add the rice to the onion and celery, and that's going to be our stuffing. So let's cut this up. I'll zoom in for this. Now, a lot of people when they're cooking, for some reason,
you dice everything up so small, well, you kind of lose the flavor. So these are in about 1/4 inch little bits. Because when they do fry, you know, everything gets a little bit smaller. So I kind of want about equal portions of celery to onion. So we'll see what it looks like when we're all said and done. Oh, there's a little piece there for them. Man, it's out of control in here. Need a bigger cutting board. Alright, I haven't got the camera on me because my eyes are starting to water. That's okay. That's about enough celery. I'll eat these little bits here. That'll be my snack. Okay, we're looking pretty good. About 50-50. So fry this off. Wilt these down. Getting ready for the rice. Our rice is boiling nice. Now, rice really likes to have oil. So put, I don't know, a good 4 or 5 tablespoons in. And then we're going to lightly fry everything. Wilt everything down. At this point, we're going to add a little bit of Vegisal. That'll help wilt everything down. Salt will pull a little bit of that moisture out of the onion and celery. Now when your rice boils down a little bit, give a little bit more water. Remember, we're not really measuring, we're not doing anything like that, we're just boiling until she's done. And if your rice is a little bit old, it'll take a little longer to finish off than it would if it was nice and fresh. Oh, the smell of the onions and celery frying. You should just get up in the morning and do this, and your house would smell wonderful all day long. It'll take a good 10 minutes anyway to wilt these down, maybe a bit more. I haven't got it on too high a heat. The rice I've got on a medium high. You want to boil it. Okay, our veggies have wilted down. Now I don't want to take them down to a point where they're kind of like mush, because they're going to cook again. So I'm just going to pull that off. Cut the heat off. I'm just going to wait for our rice to finish up, and then it looks like it's about halfway there. Add a little bit more water. So when you think the rice is getting close, just take a fork, a little bit. Yeah, it's just a little al dente, because it's going to cook a little bit when it's in the oven. So you don't want it too much here. You're really going to be unhappy. Okay, we're going to strain this off, and then we're going to add it to our onions and celery. I didn't rinse it. Kind of want a little bit of that starch. It'll kind of hold everything together a little bit. I'm going to wash the pot after we get this seasoned, because I'm going to need that for step number 2. So the key to this is to season it properly. Now, if you're really into cooking, you know that starchy stuff, you almost have to over season it a little bit, because when you cook it again, the salt seems to disappear. So we're going to add our celery salt. You want quite a bit. Celery salt is really quite a wonderful flavoring. So I'm thinking I probably got about half a teaspoon in there. And same with the Vagisil. Now I'm just going to kind of continue with this until we get something that we really like. I got the heat off. I'm not really frying this, so just whatever's left over from the rice. Now this rice here, even without the cabbage rolls, I'll cook it up and then just portion it out, and this will be a side dish. It's one of my favorite ways of doing rice. Just put it in a little baggie and throw it in the freezer. Bring it out when you're ready to eat it. Put it in the microwave. You're good to go. Seasoning is really good. I like that. Okay, we're just going to set this aside. Let that cool. On to step number 2. It's time to deal with this cabbage. Now there's a little bit of rough leaves on here. We're just going to peel that back. But we want all the leaves because we're going to coat the bottom of our pan here. That looks pretty good. But we're going to take the core out, and then we're going to steam this. It takes a little bit of time. Now take your time doing this because you can really do some damage to yourself. Make sure the knife is on a bit of an angle so you're making a bit of a cone here. Now this part here is one of my favorite things. A little salt on that, man. Okay, so we got the core out of it now. We're going to put it down like this. We're going to put it back in the pot that the rice was cooking in, and we're going to steam this. And as the leaves come off, we'll just put them in a colander, let them cool, and then we can stuff them. Now you steam this so you can just do a light little tug and the leaves are going to come out. You have to be patient because this is going to take a little bit of time. But anything good takes a little bit of time. So these first couple, I'm going to use them to line the bottom of the pot. Looking good. Be gentle. If you're tugging on it, it doesn't move, it needs a little more steam. All right, leaves are all steamed off. This is the pot I'm going to use, just a small little enamel one. I'm not making very many cabbage rolls. This actually happens to be the one that my grandmother used. So a little bit of oil. And then we're going to use the cabbage leaves that we first took off, and we're going to line the bottom. We don't want our cabbage rolls to stick. Of course, as you go down, the smaller leaves, it's pretty hard to make a cabbage roll out of that. We're going to use that as well. And as we go up, we'll come along the sides as well. And then we'll cap it off with some leaves to finish it off. Now, if you're really lazy, you could just fry up some cabbage and mix it up with your rice, but I call that lazy man's cabbage rolls. It's not the same. Alright, that's a pretty good start. So we're going to start stuffing these. Give them a little knife here. Now these smaller ones is not too bad. This vein here, it's a little thick on some parts, but it don't bother me none. So what I'll basically do is just take a teaspoon here. This one, of course, is not going to take very much rice. That's alright. Basically fold it, fold your edges, and then roll it up. My grandmother was really good at making these little tiny cabbage rolls. And then basically you just line her up. Takes a little bit of patience, but you eventually get it. I know some Ukrainian lady is going to be looking at this going, oh, you're doing it all wrong. But it works for me. And you just kind of have to be patient. You just make one little fold, tuck the edges in, and then just roll her up. I think that's a pretty nice looking cabbage roll. Now as you get a little farther down the line and you get in, I'm going backwards here, and you don't like that little bit of a vein there, you can cut a little bit of it out. Just kind of fold itself in. Alright, I'm going to continue. This one's not too bad. I'm just going to leave it until I get the pot all filled up. All right, we got everything all lined up. They look delicious. Just gonna give it a little bit of oil just to keep things from sticking. And even these little parts here that you cut off, you can throw them in there too. And we're just gonna use the rest of this cabbage, kind of cover everything up. Almost ran out. Just enough. Okay. This is going in the oven for 45 minutes. I know that doesn't seem to be very long, but 350, that's good enough. Because if you go any longer than that, they're going to get mushy. And if you like it mushy, go a little bit longer. Pull them out in 45 minutes, take a look. You know, you can poke them with a fork or something like that, and if they're to what you like, because it's all about you, whenever it's perfect for you, that's when they're ready. For me, it's about 45 minutes in the oven at 350. Pulled her out after 45 minutes. You can see that, I don't know, that's what the cabbage is for on the top. So it'll take some of the heat and it'll brown up so you won't burn your cabbage rolls. And there you go. Vegetarian cabbage rolls.